Hello, folks. Welcome to the UK Games Expo live stream. Hopefully, everybody can hear me because I've got all the boxes ticked and all the speakers live. And joining me this week is Jim from Patriot Games. How you doing, Jim?
I am good. I'm good.
And then as we come to be recognised or remember every week, we've got Kate, UK Games Expo Marketing Manager. And up at the top, joining us is Richard Denning, UK Games
Hello.
Expo Director. How
Hello.
are you doing, folks?
Not bad, not bad.
It's been
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen you, Richard. Have you recovered from Virtually Expo?
I think so, yeah.
Virtually Expo and Virtually Medusa Games, all in the same time.
Virtually, all sorts of stuff, yeah.
That was
But,
bonkers. Absolutely
Yes.
bonkers weekend. But glad to see you well. So like we spoke with last week, we spoke with First Falling Leaf. Wonderful Sins RPG, looked absolutely gorgeous. I remember Wotan Games dropping in and then also parting with some cash to join in with the Sins. It was really awesome. And this week we're chatting with Jim from Patriot Games. Patriot Games, 25 years old this year, is that right?
26.
26.
Yeah.
Gosh, that in itself is an achievement in the game store sort of industry. We see a lot of folks opening stores, but it is that long haul that really needs to be applauded. That's amazing, Jim. I hope you're as proud as we are about game stores that last that long and keep going.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, when you're in it kind of feels like forever and no time at all. So it's a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some folks who might be watching might recognise you because I recognise your face from card game tournaments all across the UK, and maybe the background folks might twig. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe how we got into Patriot Games and that kind of the origin story of the store?
Well, Patriots started out as a comic book shop. We actually started as a market stall, and we kind of. I wasn't in charge then, but it kind of did its thing, and then I think Magic the Gathering came along, and suddenly people were interested in games, so it kind of took the step to carry more games, and then eventually I gave up my previous career to take over full time and make it into a game shop because that's kind of my love, my passion. I like games. I like to play games and get other people playing games. And although I, like many gamers, love to read a comic book, my knowledge of comic books is not sufficient to make a living out of that. So we moved entirely into games around sort of 2000, 2001, and haven't looked back since.
And was it like before you mentioned Magic the Gathering and things there? Was it before then you had like a love of games, or was it when you got involved that really like exploded?
So my father was a board games designer, so I
Wow.
grew up around board games forever, and I helped him out as I was going through school and college, like packing board games and things. And so it's been in the blood sort of forever, really. And when I was at school, picked up role playing and tabletop miniature games and stuff. So yeah, the whole 9 yards, really. It's kind of it's in the blood.
It's been there since a wee Jim.
Yes.
Packing board games. I love that. I love the idea of that because obviously a lot of board game design companies are family run things, and just like, oh, do I have to pack another 20 board games? Yes, you must pack all these board games today. That is your job, and then you must mow the lawn. I love that sort of idea that the love, and then also the oh yes, I must, yeah.
I like that Richard's looking slightly guilty there with his offspring, one of whom I understand has now moved out safely to the
Yes.
safety of Sheffield, where Patriot
Yes.
Games are. So
Evacuated the district.
yes,
Yeah, run away so I no longer have to pack board games on a Sunday afternoon for shipping on Monday. So yeah, Kate mentioned there that you're over in Sheffield. Whereabouts are you at the minute? Because I know sort of that there's been a bit of a move around. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield is going through somewhat of a a process of kind of urban renewal, and they're redeveloping everywhere. And our lovely shop that we were in for the last 5 years, with its beautiful gaming space and everything, is being knocked down for redevelopment. So we are looking for a new permanent home. So we're in a space on King Street in Sheffield. We're here temporarily. The place is good enough for what we need. Obviously, organised play is somewhat limited at the moment anyway, so the limited space we have isn't as much of a problem as it might be. But yeah, we can, as and when our council allow us to do events, we will be able to do them in the evenings when we close the shop. But yeah, we're looking for a long-term kind of, as my colleague Paul puts it, our new forever home.
Forever home, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And I know you've sent us some pictures, and we'll show some of the folks watching them in a minute or two. But you guys are really passionate about organised play and events, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, very much. That's I think was always my drive when I took the reins fully of Patriot, and that was always what I wanted to do, to have a place where people could come and meet and find other gamers. And the best way to do that is arrange things so that all the people that like the same things are in the same place at the same time. And that's kind of where it started. I mean, back then there were far fewer options for organised play, so we were in at the start, and we kind of hold hands. And I've got a lot of staff members now, and they've all been trained in it, and they've been selected because they fit the kind of the love and the need for doing organised play, which you guys will know, running organised events is quite an exhausting and sometimes thankless process.
We can. I'm just showing the stream now. You made a wonderful like comic book picture of all your team with all their wonderful, like there's LARPing going on here, a little bit of space, a gent with a giant sword, somebody with the UK flag. Absolutely awesome. And the hashtag PG Team 2020. What sparked that picture? What kind of inspired that?
Well, the artist that did that is someone that actually came to one of our events, and she'd been working on some playmat designs for a Game of Thrones event. We have a section of our company where we do custom accessories. We make playmats and dice trays and all that kind of stuff. We did some for Expo a year or so ago, and we just liked the style that she did, and we kind of thought it would be nice to have sort of immortalize our team in a way that fits what we do. That kind of bringing fantasy into our everyday lives, making that escapism a thing.
It's quite a nice big team, and I mean a lot of stores are just sort of like one passionate gent and maybe 2 or 3 others, but you've got a quite a nice big diverse team there. Does everybody specialize in 1 or 2 things, or is everybody now hooked into every aspect of the store?
So I think both of those things are true. I think everyone can't help but be hooked into everything just because they're gamers, as well as people that are good at their jobs, but they also have their own specializations that they are good at and they focus on. So yeah, and I think it's useful to have everyone specialize in an area, because they can have better knowledge. Like, all of our customers are experts in the thing that they're into, so you need a lot of product knowledge to be able to talk on the same level. Otherwise, you're always playing catch up. And I remember back in the days when it was just me and I had to know everything. It's quite taxing on the brain. And, as I get older in years, my brain is not so good at holding all of that information. Sharing the load is good.
So what is it you're an expert on these days? What do you get all excited when you hear the new person come in and go, I'd really like to try?
So I think my expertise has become paperwork, but my
that's good.
Yes. Oh yes.
is role playing. That's always been my go-to, and throughout all of the weird times that we've gone through over the years and recently, I always make sure that I get at least one roleplay session in a week, and I'll move mountains to make sure that I've got space in my week to get one session in, because that's kind of not my reason for existing, but it's certainly I need that there to keep me sane.
It's a way of getting marbles back when they're beginning to go. Yeah.
We've got a nice picture of your pre-COVID D&D sessions going on there.
Yeah.
I recognise some of those DMs from the halls at Expo. I recognise one or two faces in there.
Yep.
And a number of people to the epic that we did. We have we did. I mean, hopefully they're all still going. A lot of it's moved online at the moment, but it had a very big D&D community in Sheffield. Our Tuesday evening sessions for Adventures League frequently hit 100 plus people. So.
Awesome.
Wow. What systems do you love, Jim? What are you going to play or GM in?
At the moment, I'm running an L5R campaign. Actually, L5R is kind of my long-term love affair with the game, from the card game, the role-playing game, and any associated things they come up with. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I remember, and this is probably like, I'm plugging something that we did at Virtual Expo, but I was listening to Angeli from Aconite Books talking about how the card game then influences how the RPG happens and the events, and so it's all sort of linked together, isn't it?
Yes, I mean its origins are a game that was very much driven by player interaction, and the storyline that unfolded was based on what the players did. And I think when the game moved to Fantasy Flight, they've tried to keep that kind of spirit alive as much as they can. They're a bit more of an organised. I don't want to do a disservice to AEG. I love them dearly, but they're very rigid FFG in comparison to how they do things. They like to stick to their way of doing things, so it's slightly more controlled. AEG would kind of bend to the whims of players, and sometimes players like to troll, so they make decisions and give the story team a headache. And I think Fantasy Flight are probably wise to try and not allow that to be a thing anymore. But yeah, it definitely has always reflected the people that play it. And that's one of the reasons why I really like the game, all of the versions.
So are you a game master for that, or are you
Currently, yeah, I've been running. I think tonight will be session 18. So.
Cool. That's
Do you ever get to play with those? Because I know you're always the one who's organising everything that's going on. So do you ever get to play the games?
With roleplay, yeah, the group that I play with frequently, we rotate. Like, someone will play a campaign, run a campaign, and then we'll switch to a different GM. So you get quite a long break in between. So yeah, it's good.
That's
Although,
really good.
as every GM will know, you love the idea of playing until about week 3, and then you're already thinking how you would do.
Yes.
A great idea for a different thing, and then before you know it, you're volunteering to run. So.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. And you say you're still managing to get online. One of your players is already in the chat. I don't know their real name, but they're saying Exile's Journey. We still haven't managed to solve the answer to the plot. Is apparently a thing.
That's standard, I think, for role playing.
Yeah. That completely threw my train of questioning there, but
that's all right. So you guys, because you've got a big OP community, you've got a big role-playing community, given the current shenanigans and the fact that we're all grounded in various different and increasingly random ways, how have you kept that going? If you look to keep that going, have you got contact with folk?
We've offered lots of different things. We're doing like remote stuff for some of the card games. Not every card gamer is set up to play online. If their particular game doesn't have proprietary software to run that, it's a case of doing it with a webcam, and that's not always as successful as it might be. So not everything is firing as fully as it might in real life, but we're keeping people
Yeah, I think you saying that is true for a lot of game stores right now, that they have become or realize that they are much more than just the place where you get your latest game fix. It is a community of folks, and to build that up over 26 years just is amazing. You must have the same people turning up for every game night or session night, but then also the new people just dropping in is must be a real exciting thing to see.
It is, and I still get that buzz when I stand outside the games room and I hear, lots of people gaming noises going on, and that's very satisfying. The weirdest thing about doing it for this long is when you have someone come in and they're the child of two of your earlier customers that met at your store, and
Oh wow!
that makes you old above anything else. But yeah, it's a very kind of surreal experience when you're dealing with people, and when some of your old customers that were kids that used to come and play Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever, and they were, terrors and nightmares, and they come back and they're adults and they've developed this kind of new respect for what we did, and you can tell that they've realized kind of after the fact that they really appreciated it more than they said they did at the time, and that's kind of nice to know that you have that kind of place in their life, in their memories, and they'll tell their kids about that, and that's kind of nice.
That's very rewarding, and also bringing the next generation along. That's tremendous. That's a great job.
Not scary.
maybe just a little bit. I know. I've seen similar things in the day job kind of happen, and that's always a little bit like, oh, gosh, I remember when you were only knee high, and now you've got your own bank card. And how are you only 6 and allowed to have a bank account? I'm not quite sure.
Show me some ID. Come on.
No, you're not old enough to do this. Please stop. But as you said, it's incredibly rewarding to feel that and see that happen, that growth and community all together. And yeah, it's brilliant. I've got a question. I've always known, every time I've seen the shop on social media, because I've never managed to get down to it. Why Patriot Games? Are you a massive? Is it an American football reference, or is it a film?
It's entirely because we were a comic store and we were called Patriot Games, and that it makes obviously a lot more sense as a comic book store name. And when we became the game store, because we were known already, we just changed comics to games. I appreciate that new people get confused by that quite frequently. And so, I mean, our current logo reflects that a little bit. We tend to just go by PG a lot. I don't want to be kind of ashamed of our origins. I don't want to rebrand because there's some weirdness around the word Patriot, but it's where we came from, and also it gives a ready-made corporate color scheme, so that makes life nice and neat.
You're right. It can get confusing if you change names, change logos all over the place, and the people don't necessarily identify you with that logo or those names and things. And it can get very confusing for people if these are the same people or they do something completely different, or
yeah, exactly.
You're probably right to stick with that. So.
Because I like the idea that the whole L5R thing, you're very each clan, you're very much for your clan, but you also have to be a patriot for Rokugan and the world that L5R is set in, Legend of the Five Rings. And so I think it whilst it can have peculiar connotations, I think it's very much well, actually, this for me is this is the game I like, these are the games I like, that kind of thing. So yeah. Plus, red, white, and blue is very striking.
I was expecting like I'm a massive Patriots fan of the American football. I have to say, having known some folks who are.
You get traffic of Patriot fans on our Twitter sometimes.
Oh, a bit of cross pollination when they're doing all right. Oh, brilliant. You mentioned also that you and I've done this. I've been a customer on this side of the shop, so to speak. You do customized accessories, bits and pieces, don't you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. I think we've got a picture. A lovely lady here holding a 25 years playmat.
Nice.
If I was prepared, I would have gone and got one of my. Because we don't do it so much anymore, but we used to, in my local area, play a lot of Netrunner. And one of the things we used to do is order a custom map from Patriot, and then we would challenge each other and sign the map when we won the person, and you would keep the map, and the map would travel around the area. And we used to regularly order from Patriot Games. How did that happen? How did you get started in this custom printing, custom map making, custom accessories?
Well, it was one of those things that happens. I think the reason why we started running games because no one else was doing it, and we wanted to be able to have those things. So I had a friend that did dye sublimation printing, and I asked him to do it, and he did some samples for us, and then he asked me what kind of amount of sales I'd be looking at, and I told him, and then he went, "Oh, I can't possibly do that many. I do this as a part-time thing." So we bought the stuff. My colleague Paul went on a crash course to learn how to do it, and I mean he comes from a background of advertising, graphic design, and stuff. So he has that side already, and he's pretty good at it. We have very high standards. We don't like to let low quality stuff through. And we have a very strong returns policy. So if someone orders something and it's not right, then we'll change it. Because we're gamers, we always work on the basis of this is the thing that I would want, so it's good. And if I look at it and think, well, I wouldn't want this, then we don't do it. So it's very much like no one else was doing it unless we bought it from China or somewhere. So we decided, well, let's do it ourselves.
And is it quite an involved process now, or is your colleague Paul got it down to a PG-13 level of language?
Well, we now have another part of the team full time on the printing when everything's running as it normally is. And
wow.
We have another kind of casual member of staff who comes in and fills in when orders are high. But we also, I think they're really good at it. They all know what they're doing, and they are, we do a lot of stuff for Kickstarters, and we do a lot of stuff within the industry. So sometimes we get massive orders, and they're very good at that. But most of our orders are one-offs, so they get a lot of care and attention to make sure they're right.
We've excuse me. We've got a couple of questions asking about this side of things. Where is the best place for people to go and find out about that? Is it your website, or is there a special website?
There's a separate part for the custom. So if you go to patriotgames.uk, or you can just go to custompatriot.uk, but they link together, and you can order whatever you want. Really, there's lots of stuff we do, and there's a thing on there to upload your artwork and make sure it looks how you want it to look. But we're very friendly kind of people, so if people get stuck, then drop us an email or give us a ring, and we'll make sure that everything goes through the process.
I do have to say, as a previous customer, dealing with a bunch of largely disorganized card players from the northwest of England, they've always been very helpful and very, very patient with us. So yeah, they're pretty amazing that side, as well as your main focus, which is the game. So coming back over there, what's it like at the minute? What's happening at Patriot? Are you doing like drop-offs? Are you taking anything like that?
Yeah, we're open. It feels really short. I mean, it's an example of how this industry is quite hard to work in, because we're open probably half the hours we normally would be, but we're still open 10 to 5:30 every day. So normally that would be people's normal working hours, but that's like half of our normal week. So, but yeah, we're doing mail orders, we're doing local drop-offs. We did that all the way through lockdown to try and make sure people got their games, to keep them sane. So if you live within the Sheffield boundaries, the limits of that are written on the website. The Sheffield is sprawlingly massive.
Mm-hmm.
I think over the first month of lockdown, I drove about 1,200 miles doing drop-offs. So I now feel like a taxi driver and doing most.
That seems reasonable. We've actually got some really nice feedback in the chat where people are saying that they've had lots of positive feedback from all the custom Patriot things, and it often comes up on the Facebook board game groups that they're part of. So whatever your stuff is doing, 2 thumbs way up. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know. And also, do you deliver to the Netherlands? Has been asked by Jerome.
You can ship to the Netherlands for sure. Yeah.
But that's
Excellent.
not going to be Jim's taxi service there.
No. Sorry, Jerome, we can't hand deliver it. But if you want to order, then they'll ship it out to you. That would be great. Awesome.
That's amazing.
You can also apparently look at your store on Google Maps. Is that right?
So you can look at our old store on Google Maps and see how lovely it was. It's now empty, and yeah, we haven't done one for here because we're only going to be here for like 6 months. So, but we will look at that again for the walk around where you can go around. So if you're intrigued of what you can now no longer visit, by all means.
No, that's a thing. I think someone's having a wander around a different store. That's it.
Beautiful. So you're going to be just tell us your current location. Give us the street name and such. And you're going to be here till early next year, like March, June.
Our temporary let is 6 months. So we're hoping to have found somewhere by then. So it's King Street. We're at number 33. That's it's in the city centre, but it's S3 postcode, so it's S38LF. It's kind of, if you took our old location that a lot of people would have known of old, which was down on the river, and you drew a line to where we're about halfway in between the two. So.
Oh, okay. So it's not too hidden, if you will.
No, it's not a place where there's been a game shop before, so people will probably be, and people do still. It used to be an Oxfam, so we keep getting older people coming in who wander in and then after about 2 minutes look really confused and then wander back out again.
Oh.
We try and engage them, but most of them were looking for specific things that weren't games.
That aren't, yeah. Oh, and have you got plans for the end of, or is it all sort of take 1 month at a time right now?
Well, we want to find a space that's right. We were very proud of our last shop. It was a significant step towards making a game shop, in our opinion, the way a game shop should be. And other people agreed. You know, we got given WPM premium status.
Wow.
So we want to keep that level of quality and have a place where it's comfortable and open and clean and bright and it's a place that people want to come and be. We've tried to kind of evolve past that extension of the gamer's bedroom feel that you get when you start out, because you've cobbled together some shop fittings and when we started out in the first store we were in, it was like a den for boys, and the world has moved on, and we very much want to be welcoming to everyone, and part of that is changing the presentation. So we're looking for a nice open space.
So moving away from the man cave sort of idea. So,
Man Cave had its time and it was great, but apart from the fact that there's more than just guys playing these days, it's a bit scary to people who aren't already in the group. It's like
yes, definitely,
place. And there's
also,
a lot. You see it across the whole industry. There's a lot of change towards being more welcoming. I think board game cafes have helped a lot with that because they've changed people's perceptions of a place where people would be gamers. And I think, you know, as an industry, we are good at evolving with change. There are problems with people's attitudes everywhere in life, but gamers are generally smart people, so they're adapting.
It's, it sounds like you've got some lovely plans up ahead. Are you running like we've heard of some folks who are running like their a Discord channel or social media kind of get-togethers for some of your players. Do you have anything like that going on at the moment?
We do. We have a Discord server, and we have channels for pretty much everything. It's a bit overwhelmingly large at times, and the D&D group have like a separate Discord server for them called Eld, as in elves, because I think the traffic on there is different and has different requirements. So, but yeah, and we just try and be, you know, available for people if they need to get that gaming fix in, and just we're on a bit of a pause this month, but since lockdown we did a daily post every day on social media, just to try and get people involved in a conversation, be it about games or arguing which comic book character was better or anything really, just trying to keep people, you know, engaged and distracted from the kind of less niceness that the world is currently.
Yeah. No, I appreciate. I love it. There have been some great posts out and around in the world. I have enjoyed those particular which comic book character is best ones. Do you have any games on your radar that you want to share with folks, or are you getting people still hyped for the latest games in the shop?
I think there's always a lot of hype. Gamers like new things, they like shiny things. You can tell from the success of places like Kickstarter that the gamers are impatient for a new shiny thing. So I think hyping games is not a difficult thing. and there's always people that want it. I have the same problem that every gamer has, in that every new shiny thing looks amazing and interesting.
And you need it.
my finding the time to allocate to those shiny things. So I have a backlog of things on my reservation section for me to catch up with. So yeah, I could bore you for quite a long time with a list of games, but I'm very much enjoying my role play at the moment, and so most of my attention has been on role play. So and obviously Sins is something that I'm very much involved with. So I am very excited about the fact that that's coming out, and we've got another game coming out which Sam probably told you a great deal about, which I'm very excited about too. So they need lots of hours of play just to make sure they're perfect, even if they are already perfect. You know, we need to get that done, because we want to as much as because we need to. So I recommend those.
And that's tremendously supportive, because Sam was telling us last week, so he's one of the authors of Sins, which is the fabulous looking role-playing game, and he was saying that he came to your shop and his now current writing partner, and you said try some role playing. Here it is, and your shop is seemingly a year older than he is, but he's now a games designer and producer and a Kickstarter, and there's a new Kickstarter coming up. So that's tremendous accolade to support folk coming through and doing that journey with you.
Yeah, I mean, Sins is one of those really nice things where everything about that game is customers, is regulars, community members of the shop, from writing, playtesting, the art, the layout, literally everything, apart from the physical printer, who was a printer, and we don't have a printing press in the shop.
Yet.
Would have done that too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a, and that came from a conversation like, what do you think of this? And it's like, well, it's good enough to be a product. Make it into a product. I mean, you see it all the time. Kickstarter and crowdfunding has made that a real thing for lots of people, and I think that's a great thing for our industry. There are lots of tiny games that can become enormous because someone had the chance to get it out there. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of getting the people with the talent out there so that other people can enjoy it.
I mean, it's like a wonderful kind of full circle, because obviously you've grown up with people making games. There's something you said your father did, and then it at times, like for other folk, you don't realize that you can do that yourself. So without the community and Patriot Games, without yourselves saying to other folks, no, you are allowed to do this. Perhaps Sins never would have.
Yeah, it may well still be in Michael's head. So, along with many other worlds that he's yet to get to paper. But
do you have a specific room designed for your new Forever shop where you'll just put him in there, like push food in until he brings out manuscripts and stuff? That's clearly how that works.
He's one of those people that has that brain that creates things in so much detail that you do need someone on hand just to be the writer, and he can just perform it.
Hemorrhage information.
Yeah, and in fact, the writing team for First One Leaf do work like that quite a lot. They do. They're very kind of synergistic team, and I think there are a lot of people who are gamers who have kind of a different look on the world, and they may have issues that make their kind of inclusion in the everyday world less easy, but actually these become a gift when it comes to being creative and all these kind of imaginations that just need someone to go, yeah, that's other people would like that. You should
do that thing. Do it but louder so that they can hear you. Yeah. That's very cool.
Is game design or is something you're excited about, or is this been a happy sort of moment of, no, they can do all the crunch and all the stuff, and I will just make sure they're pointed in the right directions?
I dabble in the odd bit, but I've never had the killer idea. I tend to get my creative outlet in a way in creating things for events. So side events for big events, that I tend to spend a lot of time designing those, making them work. When we did the Final Fantasy Nationals last year, I made a Chocobo racing board game, and we used that as a side event. Just
awesome.
They're never going to be publishable, but they're for their time, they're for their thing, and I get my outlet there. I come up with games and I force my employees to test them with me, but
as you can do.
It's good to be king.
Yes.
Yeah, we were doing that with Richard yesterday.
Yes, indeed.
But it's more just to see if I can get these ideas in my head into fruition. But as much as everyone now can make a game, not everyone can make a game that everyone else wants to play. And I think probably one of my strengths in life is being able to identify what my strengths are. And that's not one of them, but
I think it's a critical skill, to be honest. I mean, I think it was one of the things that Tony and I often say is what we try and do quite often with the expo is find people who can do stuff. And once you've found the people that can do the stuff, then you push the stuff at them and they get on with it. And I think that's one box we can tick. So, and sometimes it's difficult to let go of certain things that you might have been doing yourself. But I think once you recognise that here's a person that's better at this, then get on with it. So I think it's a very good skill there that you got there to recognise those that can do things.
Over the years, that there are a few things that I've done that I can't find someone to do it better. So, which I guess is good. Also, I'd be trying to do everything.
Yes,
and that would fail horribly. So, yeah, I think we all like to dabble. Everyone who's a gamer has come up with their own game somewhere in their head. I think nudging people to give it a try is a good thing, and then really supporting those people who've got something good. I think, and communities do that anyway. You see board games come out of board gaming communities, and role plays come out of like a homebrew that's been developed, and the community supports it. So I think people can identify when something's good, and we just need that little bit of support sometimes.
So
absolutely.
Should we be all eyes on Patriot Games and stuff for more things like this? Is this a wonderful community where you're gonna incubate more exciting things?
Well, we try to help local independent designers as much as we can. There's quite a lot. There's in Sheffield. There's a few games out there that we've helped Plaything Store and I helped push. But it's and first of all, in Leaf is very much a company that's there to try and help independent people get their stuff published. Obviously, like any business, money is a thing, and so that has to happen at the pace at which it can be afforded. But yeah, I'm always keen to support independent game design. Not that I'm against big labels or anything. They make great games, but they don't need my help.
They won't fit in the OP area at Patriot Games, all of them together. You'd need
that's why you guys are there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope so. We really do.
It's been great. It's been great kind of finding out all about Patriot Games. It's a really lovely kind of journey from packing your dad's board games now to 26 years of and hearing that you're still part of doing things like the tournaments and the side events. It's not just you drop it in the side of Sheffield, that you are as yourself and as Patriot Games kind of at large in the board game industry of the UK is amazing. And I suspect part of your wonderful success as well being that involved with everything.
It's hard to stay away sometimes, and you have to rein it back to not be that annoying person that wants to put their thumb in every pie. So I'm always happy to get involved and do things. I love helping out at Expo and doing stuff with Asmodee and those guys. It gives it's a nice sense of achievement, but it's also a great feeling of seeing people, being able to play and being able to facilitate that. It's the reason why I've spent so much of my life doing this, and it's the reason why the people that work at Patriot, the team, are here. They also share this, and they, in their own ways and their own skill sets, they bring their thing to the table as well. So, and I think that's not just true of us, that's true of many game stores around the country. I think a lot of gamers will never know how different it is now to how it was when I was younger. But those people that have been playing games for as long as me, and some people who've been doing it longer, they'll remember when there were like 10, 20 game shops in the entire country, and they were tiny places, and you couldn't game in them. So,
and independent games were things that were either handwritten and then photocopied, or if it was really posh, it might have been done on a very bad printer in multicolored paper, because that's how you knew it was credible, and that's how you knew it was whizzy bang, because it was on yellow and orange paper, making it horrific to read. It's brilliant. Loved it. I still have some, mostly because I can't throw it away. But nowadays it's like, oh yeah, well, we kickstarted, and this is our black cover version, and this is our white cover version, and here's our website, Facebook, social media. Speaking of which, how do we get hold of you guys?
So our website, we've got 2 addresses, but the easiest one is patriotgames.uk. You can email us. Our email address is basically at patriotgames.limited.uk, and put Jim in there to get me directly, or you can put sales or info to get the relevant people. We're on Twitter at Patriot Games Limited. We're on Facebook, however you normally find things on Facebook. We're on Instagram, and we're probably on some other social media. I am really bad at social media, so one of the other guys, or several of the other guys, manage most of that for me. I'm not like terrible at technology, but I am very much fall down the wormhole of long debates with people so they don't get it working. So I try and stay away from them if I can while I'm working, which is
that seems sane.
Yeah. But yeah, and phone us. We're always going to talk on the phone. I'm very much of the opinion that too many companies make it impossible for me to contact them, and I'm definitely never going to be one of those. So if you ever just want to ask a question, don't be scared. We've got our phone number on our website, so you can do that.
Wicked.
That's lovely.
Very, very cool.
That's lovely. I love talking to all the friendly game stores we've had so far, and it's really heartwarming that none of them are like, oh no, we just wanted to open a shop and just do it. And it all comes from a place of love, and it really is a place of love over at Patriot Games. I'm all like, oh, warm and fuzzies.
It's very cool.
It is.
Although I do want to build you a throne to go with your samurai in the background. I think that's the best backdrop so far, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of wandering samurai looking a bit fierce there, but either side of Jim. It's cool.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jim.
The Game of Thrones throne, maybe. What's it called?
Yeah.
Oh, the Iron Throne.
Iron Throne, but with samurai swords rather than
little samurai sword. That would be an expensive undertaking. Perhaps.
Either.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a chat with Sam to talk about some Kickstarter funding to get that throne on the go. But yeah.
Oh no! Apparently, Exile's Journey says that they're just really, really still bodyguards. There. It's not a backdrop. those are his minders.
Actual samurai at Patriot Games. Yeah. I like it. But yeah, thank you very much for chatting with us. It has been wonderful. I hope everybody at least heads down, has a good look at the Facebook page. And Jim said they're happy to have a call, so everybody should give Patriot Games a ring and tell them they're wonderful. We'll see you soon. If you have a friendly local game shop that you want to learn more about, shout out, do let us know. You can do so in the Twitter or not the Twitter, where are we? We're on Twitch. The Twitch chat. Give us a shout in there. It's been great, Jim. We'll see you all. We'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah,
Here's
definitely.
the thing. Maybe we could come back in 6 months and see this new shop.
That would be great. Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
That would be awesome.
Let's put a pin in this.
Wicked.
We'll be back in 6 months.